Thanks for listening to FPRN. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter. If you'd like to start your own show with FPRN, advertise with us, or donate to the network or to your favorite shows, check out our website at www.fprnradio.com.
We all smile while we master pain. The tragedy is we can never make the past erase. But don't matter, you still have to face the facts that you're to blame for your blackest days. You see, some people never learn they have to change. When they take the wrong path, they think they have to stay trapped in their own world their lives create. It's like you made your own bed in a lion's cage. Every bridge you burn out, a fire fades. And it's a shame to watch the rain wash the ash away. This is the last attempt that I will ever make, in the hopes you take the blame for your past mistakes. Stop walking that line, it's really time for change.
And every day's getting harder to face it. Now my mind escapes, stay wasted, so I can forget all the problems I made. And even though I wasn't there to save you, remember I was the one who stayed true. When everything fell apart, I blamed you, but now I see I'm the one to blame too. Forget about the past, live for today, and never go back to that place once again. I'll never give up, I'll keep trying to fight and live out these days for the rest of my life.
Starting to notice, listens on my shoulders, it all begins. For it's already morning, I've already fallen. I already know I can't give
We are back with the last segment here on Big Plantation Live, brought to you by FPRNradio.com. That was Can't Give In, brand new song, first feature, the first time that song's been heard by anybody, brought to you by FPRN Radio. Can't Give In, brand new song from HalfLip, which consists of my co-host here, Moses Flows, and our guest on the live, Steve Denig. Steve, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
We're having an awesome night, man. I love nights like this where we focus on music, man, because it's really a passion of mine, Moses, and I can only assume yours, right?
Oh, definitely. Even the guy you just had on, his band sounds amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not everybody's cup of tea, man, but I love me some metal, so.
Oh, definitely. Me too.
So, HalfLip, this is the first song that has come out of your guys' camp for, what, like 3 years almost, right?
Yeah, pretty much about that.
So, and to give everybody, why don't you give our crowd some background on HalfLip as the concept? What was going on with the band? What was the band all about? Fill us in.
Yeah. Well, the whole band kind of started with Moses and one of our guitarists, Dan. They started writing and recording music and started posting some stuff on MySpace, and a lot of people really, really started liking it and, started getting a big following. And what ended up happening was they got hooked up with a management company, and the management company ended up getting the first show at Croc Rock, opening up for Vanilla Ice. So what ended up happening was the like 5 songs that they had written together, they needed a band to perform them live. So Moses and Dan, I've known Moses and Dan for 15 years, and as well as the other people that were in the band. So we ended up all getting together. We were all in bands throughout high school together, all different types of bands, doing hip hop or doing regular rock or metal. And so yeah, we played our first show at Croc Rock. We even sold more tickets than Vanilla Ice did, and we got it was a really, really good show. We got our fan base and everything started growing from there. Like we started getting bigger shows. We got to open up for Disturbed and Killswitch Engage at the Bryce Jordan Center. We got to open up for ICP and a bunch of other bigger bands and stuff. And we were together for, I'd say, from 2007 until the end of 2011. Playing a lot of shows. We did it the one year in 2010. We did about 140 shows, and at that time for an unsigned band, that's a lot. You know what I mean? But yeah, and then what pretty much happened was everyone decided kind of to go on a hiatus and take a break. And me and Moses have still, continued to do solo stuff and, still working on some HalfLip stuff here and there too.
So I guess to cut right to that, Chase, because I'm pretty sure you guys got a lot of fans listening. Is there a kind of reformation of HalfLip going on right now?
In a sense, it's like me and Moses have been discussing it a lot lately. Nothing's set in stone, nothing that like we're gonna put out there yet. We wanted to release the song
was the name of our EP.
And give a fan something.
What's that, Moses?
I'm sorry.
Nothing Set in Stone was the name of our EP. I think he did that on purpose to get people to go download it, I guess. Go ahead, Steve. Continue from there.
Yeah. But yeah, so, I mean, our fans, I mean, we still get hit up, even on our Facebook page. Every other day we're getting 10 or 15 friend requests. And, we're still really relevant in Northeast PA. Like, a lot of people still love it. I still get, hit up with people that, have had the CD in their CD player for months, and they're still listening to it. So, yeah, me and Moses, we wanted to release this song to kind of give our fans, you know what I mean, to show them that we're not gone yet. And, there's a lot of potential to have more stuff coming out in the near future.
And that next song, that we just heard, Can't Give In, is going to be on the HalfLip 2.0 CD, which I'll be releasing in a month or so, which Steve is very prevalent on that. And HalfLip is where HalfLip was rooted in, as Steve was talking about how we actually wound up forming, was because we were invited based on music that was in that album, that, 90% of that was just me doing most of the shit. And then I'd bring in my friends to do stuff, and some of that stuff was from Dan, and some of that stuff were from any of my friends that made music. It was really just a side project while the Deadly Venom stuff was happening. We got booked for that show, and then that gave on to a life of its own, as Steve had explained. So HalfLip 2.0, which is going to be released, is kind of us rekindling that same HalfLip spirit, and Steve is very prevalent on the whole album, including that one you just heard, which also features Dan, who was the other vocalist in HalfLip, and Dan playing guitar as well in there with us. So, yeah, most definitely any HalfLip fans listening can look forward to seeing more HalfLip stuff included. We were just invited to play the Sherman Theater in Stroudsburg. It's next month, and it is possible that we may do a HalfLip performance at the Sherman Theater. But that's all we're going to talk about on that for now. But go ahead, Mike, continue.
Yep.
Cliffhanger ending, man. It's possible. It's possible. That's what you're going to tell. That's what you're going to tell your audience. It's possible. You're going to leave them with the cliffhanger.
We're at about 80% right now. 80% sure we're going to do it. I don't want to go and say we're going to do it. In order to do it, there's a lot of work that has to happen in 4 weeks. And so I don't want to say without a doubt, but I'm telling everyone that me and Steve have considered doing it. And we will assemble to do something. Whether or not we do this Sherman Theater show in short time for a cancer benefit, which I would love to do, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that would love to come out to Sherman Theater and see us play in our hometown after not playing for 4 years, they will get the chance to see us live. I promise you that. That's a guarantee.
Well, let me just say this for your fans, though. You guys got to get involved. You guys got to start bombing them with messages and support and make this happen, because I'm really new to your guys' material, and I was going over it, and it is really interesting, and it's interesting in that it's both accessible and heavy, and yet lyrically deep. It's like a best of both world type of thing, where you guys will go from almost a hip hop lyrical style to a heavier rock or almost even metal screams lyrical style, and it's I would say you guys could fit in well in a show with CKY or Chevelle or 10 Years or Trust Company, who you guys did in fact play with. But as far as the lyrics, it's always seems to be on every track something pretty deep, pretty societally relevant. What is your take on the message that you guys want to put out through HalfLip?
Well, first off, you guys are cutting out really bad. I don't know if it's my phone. Can you guys hear me all right?
I can hear you loud and clear.
We hear you. Steve, just to reiterate then,
okay,
what
now I
drives
can
us
hear you guys.
lyrically
Yeah, I
in
couldn't hear
HalfLip?
nothing.
Say it again, Moses.
Steve,
say that
what
one more
drives
time,
us
dude. I
lyrically
couldn't
in
hear you.
HalfLip?
Oh, all right. Well, a couple of different things. Like, a lot of the times, the lyrics that we would write or talk about was just like everyday type struggles, and personal things that each one of us have would go through and stuff. And then we had other songs that that Moses influenced a lot on, was very very political and like Back Against the Wall, the one song that we have. Moses talks about a lot of stuff like that in it. But I mean, towards the end, like, that's what that was more of the vibe that we were going for. Trying to make people more awake and more aware. But like I said, in the beginning and stuff, like, the beginning and even in the middle, when we were writing songs and stuff, I wasn't really awake at that time. Like, when my lyrics and stuff all came from personal things that I've gone through. And I felt like, the personal stuff that I went through, it's stuff that a lot of people, face every day. And it's a lot, and that's why I wrote that type of stuff to have people be able to relate to it. And it's like now, even like with personal music I'm doing and Moses is doing and stuff, now it's like a totally different message of what we're putting out now. It's trying to make people more awake and more aware of the corruption and all this shit that's going on in this world.
And
Now,
that's
Steve,
that's really really cool when you think and the reason I say that is because a lot of these everyday problems you can trace back to the corruption. You know what I mean? So to the unawakened, it kind of is almost like a crash course or a 101 on why am I feeling this way? Why am I going through this everyday struggle? Why is my money not going as far? Why is it harder to afford the rent and things like that? So that all to me seems really relevant. What are like some particular topics that you personally explored on this whole project?
Well, like I said, like when you listen to, I would say 95% of the songs, even this song that we had just put out, was more like on a personal level. We didn't really talk, I mean, I guess, people could take it and interpret it however they want, you know what I mean? But like about the stuff that like we're starting to get into now, like it's just like, to be blunt, like Obama's fucking everybody. And, I think that a lot of people are starting to realize that now. Like he's got like a 60-something% approval rating or something now. And,
yeah, I think he's down to 30.
I don't know. What's that?
I said I think he's down to 30.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, like you start seeing stuff like that. I've been at the same job now for over a year, and I mean, even, my hours, everything's cut down, and you try finding another job now, it's impossible. You know what I mean? I know when I was working at this other place, I was working with a kid that had a master's degree, and I was making more money than he was an hour. I mean, that's how twisted and fucked up it is now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just think this whole world is just going to shit. And I think that Obama's fucking thing, I think he's just trying to destroy America. You know what I mean? In my personal opinion.
We agree with you on this. I would just give the spin that Obama's no more than a frontman and a continuation thereof of the Bush administration, which is all part of a bigger scheme to get us to that point. And specifically for us in 2010, I would say our last actual live performance was at the end of 2010 or maybe early 2011 was for Zulu Nation, Africa Bambaataa 35th anniversary, and we got to share the stage with some amazing heroes of mine. The rest of the band may not have understood the relevancy of it, but Immortal Tech, for example, who now we've worked with again through Sleep No More and are trying to pursue him just because of the nature of what he talks about. I think the whole band, including yourself, were exposed to ideologies that I had been expressing to the band for the 2 years or 3 years we were together prior to that. What was that event like for you to see that underground hip-hop mentality on display?
Well, around that time, we had talked about this before. Around that time was the time that I was starting to wake up to everything, and I started really listening to like everything that you were talking about, and telling me to research a bunch of stuff. And then when we went down there, it was right in your face real. You had Africa Bambaataa talking about the New World Order and telling people to watch out. You had people that were passing out flyers all over New York City talking about the corruption of government and stuff. And Immortal Tech was there, did a 3-minute freestyle talking about all that shit. Yeah, and that was a great show. It was a great night. You know what I mean? There's so many people there. Big Daddy Kane was there. Ice-T was there. Who else? A whole bunch.
Cool
of people.
G Rap.
Yeah,
Beanie
that
Siegel.
night though was even more of a wake up. You know what I mean? To see everything like right there. Okay, now it's not just Moses telling me this shit and thinking that Moses is crazy. You know what I mean? It's now you see a whole bunch of people that are real relevant in the music industry that are talking about this.
And on the outskirts of the industry as well, because that form of hip-hop doesn't exist in the mainstream. That's a continuation of the true ideals of hip-hop, represented by those individuals that were all in that room who have been saying that for the longest time. Hip-hop has always been the voice against oppression on the people that are being oppressed. And so a lot of them lash out against mainstream music. And this was the same ideology in play in me, certainly, at the time and prior to that. And that's why it was important for me to, I hope that the rest of the band saw the relevancy in that. And we were starting to move more into a hip-hop realm at that point, where we had traditionally been involved more with metal and hard rock. And I think the rest of the band really could give two shits about being, waking people up as the source or the goal of our music. And I think now, with some hindsight, I think we can continue moving forward in that ideology when we work together, certainly me and Steve.
Definitely.
And there's a lot of shit that we're doing now that will echo. And Steve's been working a lot more on his hip-hop solo stuff, which I'd like you to get into, Steve, because it's really fantastic. And we've been working on your shit kind of in secret here, but in the same time when we release the new HalfLip CD, we're going to start working on releasing Steve's solo shit. You want to talk about that a little bit, Steve?
Yeah, I've been writing. This is kind of new. Like, I've been doing this for maybe about the last 2 months, and I started, writing more politically about stuff. I'm still writing, more personal stuff, but my lyrics now, I'm really, doing more storytelling type, type lyrics than just, having angry lyrics or screaming or, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to actually tell different stories in each one of my songs that I've been doing. And I've sent out, to a few people just to have them sample, to see what they think. And I've gotten very, very good feedback so far on it. And, I plan on releasing some of my solo stuff, at least a song or two, in probably the next couple weeks. I'll be
keeping in mind too,
Facebook.
Steve, your background, which is what brought that heaviness that Heist was referencing in the music that he saw. That's where that comes from. The heaviness of HalfLip, energy was from Steve, because that's his background, and that's really what added to the fury that was the HalfLip live performance. I'd like you to address both of those, if you could.
Yeah, I grew up. I started doing music and everything when I was 14, and back up at that time, I was a really big hardcore kid, and all my friends that we hung out with were all hardcore kids. We were 14 years old, going to clubs and going to shows, and then I fell in love with with hardcore music, how you feel like you can let all that aggression out. And you have you have that voice, you feel like people pay attention to you and people can listen to you, and you feel like whatever demons you're fighting or whatever demons you have inside that you're battling, you feel like you can let it out, and you can see all these other people that can feel your pain and feel exactly what you're saying. So, I mean, that's where, like, my roots began when I was 14, you know, being in the hardcore scene. And then back then, like, we had started this band called Syndicate, and Moses was a part of Syndicate back then. And that's when it kind of started going to, like, more of, I'd say, like a hardcore type, rap type group. It was, like, more sounding kind of like E-Town Concrete. Around that time, and then it was weird because everyone had gone off and did their own thing. Like Moses went doing, you know, DOL, Disciples of Logic, and you know, everyone in the band were doing their own projects and stuff. And it's weird because we all got back together, and we started doing the same music that we kind of began doing when we were teenagers. So I mean, it kind of all came full circle.
And then as far as our live performances, Steve, because we're almost out of time here, what do you look back fondest about HalfLip, the time with HalfLip, and relate that to the energy that is pretty undeniable, certainly on my opinion, that HalfLip possessed when we would perform, and talk about some of those amazing performances that we got to do.
Oh, definitely. Like the live performance, like it didn't matter whether we were playing like a little shit bar or if we were, you know, playing a huge club. You know, it didn't matter. Like the intensity of it was just, you know, Moses would be everywhere, getting in people's faces, and you know, we would just, everyone on the stage was moving the whole time. Like there was no, you know what I mean, no stopping us or anything. Like it was such an intense show. Anytime we would play, like I said, it didn't matter whether it was a little bar or if it was playing Croc Rock or the Sherman Theater or wherever. You know what I mean? Like it was really, really. We put everything we had into doing it, into each performance. It didn't matter if there was one person there or 2,000 people there. You know what I'm saying?
Word. Well, we're almost at the end of the show here, Steve, and I would like to give you the opportunity to plug again, shamelessly, the stuff that me and you are working on now, and allude to the potential of a show in a couple of weeks at the Sherman Theater for a cancer benefit, and talk about real quick where people can find our stuff and your own stuff.
Well, as far as my own stuff, quick, I'm going to be making a Facebook page, you know, like a separate music page to be releasing my music on. As far as the HalfLip stuff goes, I mean, we're on 40 different websites. We're on Reverb Nation, Facebook, MySpace, Twitter. I mean, we're everywhere. So, I mean, you go and you search HalfLip, you'll find us. Well, what else? I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second.
It's all good because you hit pretty much everything that I would like you to hit. And also, just to reiterate that the Fievel HalfLip 2.0 CD will be in a month or two.
Yeah,
and that you will be prevalent all over that album.
Soon.
We've worked on about 4 or 5 tracks together actually for that, and the new Deadly Venom CD you're actually on as well.
Yeah, that'll be coming out soon, and my own album will probably be out. I'd say about a month and a half. I'll have my solo album out, which Moses will be a part of that too. So, you know, everyone keep a lookout for that. And, you know, I'm on Facebook every day. I post updates. Moses does the same thing. I update our HalfLip page frequently. So, you know, people will know when the time comes when we're ready to release everything. And also, there might be a show very, very near future if everything works out. Like I said, me and Moses just need to discuss it a little bit more. And, you know, people could be on the lookout for that. And I'm sure, you know, people will be very excited.
Absolutely. And thanks for being with us, Steve. And you should come back again so we can talk more about your viewpoints.
Fuck you. But thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. And I love all the topics and everything you guys talk about. It's very interesting and very true. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks a lot, Steve. Steve Denig from HalfLip, ladies and gentlemen. You're on the Big Plantation, FPRN Radio. Make sure you join us next Sunday, same time, same bat channel.
See you next week.
For Heiss and Jamie Martin.
Thanks for listening to FPRN. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter. If you'd like to start your own show with FPRN, advertise with us, or donate to the network or to your favorite shows, check out our website at www.fprnradio.com.
Human society cannot be rationally understood until it is seen for what it is. A series of farms where human farmers own human livestock. This human farming has been the most profitable and destructive occupation throughout history.
Ideas spread, they can't stop them. An idea whose time has come cannot be stopped by any army or any government.
We're not a bunch of underachievers. We're going to stand up and we're going to be human beings. We're going to get fired up about the real things, the things that matter. Creativity and the dynamic human spirit that refuses to submit.
Our nation is drifting dangerously from freedom to fascism. So I have to ask, is it time?
Yes, it is time. I hope everybody played their dues to their corporate masters this week. I know I have. Absolutely raped me when I did my tax return. But let's bring us in. How's everybody doing tonight? Got Heiss and Moses on the line.
Pretty good, man. Didn't pay those taxes any mind. I'm wondering if they started with the Obamacare quote unquote tax yet.
From my knowledge, they did not. But I have seen a hefty decrease in my tax return this year, about $300. So they certainly did something. How are you doing tonight, Moses?
I'm good. I'm just thinking about what you just said there and letting it sink in. Thinking about if it was a mistake for me to change my W-2 a few times during the course of the year and add invisible dependents to raise my income. We'll see, though, because I haven't done my taxes yet because I procrastinate.
You know, I actually just got hired for a job, and this is like the third time that I've been hired
always
for like
about
an on-the-books
you,
job
nice.
while, being aware and everything. And like it's a weird position to be in, like sitting in the office filling out these forms, because I'm so tempted to put myself as exempt, like knowing that the law does not apply to me, knowing that the because I mean you guys know how this works with income taxes, right? Like it was supposed to be for corporations, and profits is never defined, and it's considered voluntary inside.
Yeah, it was originally only intended for governmental jobs, correct?
Yeah, that and it was never supposed to hit the normal working person, and it repeatedly says voluntary compliance in the IRS's own tax code, and you've got several former heads of the tax, or the IRS, I should say, one of which was a author of that tax code, who on video with Aaron Russo even said that it's voluntary compliance.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. I saw a video of a woman who was a former IRS tax auditor, and she was really good at her job and got high up in it. And somebody actually raised a question with her about it at one point and put a bounty on it and said, look, if you can find anywhere in this tax code where these are mandatory taxes, I will give you $1,000.
There's that. There's that, and I think it's former Representative Sheila Jackson who put out $10,000 for anybody who could just show the law that says that I mean it sounds so basic that it's unbelievable, but there literally is no law requiring you to file for a 1040. There's no law.
What does law have to do with any of this?
Exactly.
Yeah, look
What
what
does
they
it
did to
mean?
Larkin Rose.
Right,
yeah, exactly. And he was also in that same documentary, and with Aaron Russo. But
yeah,
it elevates my heart rate thinking about it, because I'm there. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm a good little libertarian. I'm going to do it. And then I think about the raids, and I'm like, I can't do it.
They're not going to get you, man. You got to stay within the parameters of popping up as a blip on their radar, meaning write-offs. Write off $100 for everything in all directions. Anything above that will set off a red flag. And I propose that to every single person who's listening. when you do your taxes, do your own taxes. Don't pay some idiot to do it. Go to TurboTax and then just fucking start making stuff up. Anything above 100, they're going to want to see receipts if you wind up. But it really, in actuality, the biggest criminals to this criminal tax system, which is a weird paradox, it just blew my own mind, but are the people who make the most money, and then they launder their shit properly overseas. I guess if there's a proper way to launder stuff so that they can get around the tax code, the illegal